everyone, and welcome to Central at Home. No matter where you are watching from or how you are watching today, it is such an honor that you have decided to spend the next 45 minutes or so with us. If you are being impacted by these experiences, why don't you take a moment right now and share this on whatever platform you are watching on. Our heartbeat is to see as many people as possible impacted with this life-transforming message. And this is one of the easiest and most effective ways to reach new people and spread the word about this amazing community of faith. As a church, we have been learning the power of connection and how important it is to our faith. Connection with God and connection with each other. And as a church, we are here to help you do that. Today, I want to challenge you to personally connect with God. Open your heart to feel God's presence as we worship together. Open your mind to challenge your thoughts through the teaching and discussion questions after the experience. And open your soul to connect with God on a personal level. If you'd like to worship through giving and make sure that no one misses out on being part of this amazing faith community here at Central, the easiest way to do that is to head over to our website at centralcc.ca/give, and you can follow the prompts. You can schedule a one-time gift or set up regular ongoing giving. Either way, everything we do happens because of your generosity, and so we want to thank you in advance for your generosity. We want to help you connect with others, and there are a few opportunities that you can take advantage of to do just that. We have lots of groups, and we have groups for all ages and demographics and interests available for you. I want to mention a few of them right now that you may be interested in. The first group I want to mention is Virtual Coffee Connections. So if you are watching during our broadcast times of 9 a.m. or 10:30 a.m., we'd love for you to stick around after this experience for this group. You can jump into our Zoom discussion for about 45 minutes where we'll engage with the discussion questions that follow the message. And we'll spend some time praying together and just growing in our spiritual journeys. The second group I want to mention is called the Shape Class. For those of you who are interested in finding out about your unique shape and your purpose in life, we have an 8-week online group that began just this past week, and it's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and is continuing for the next 7 weeks, and we would love for you to be a part of that. Details are on the screen, and as always, you can head on over to our groups page to find out more information. If you have any questions or would like to find out how to get connected, head over to centralcc.ca/connect, or you can simply text the word Central to 905-937-5610. So that's all from me. The moment you are waiting for is finally here. Our experience is about to begin, and it all starts right now.
Suddenly articulate with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry. Then from north to south and east to west, we'd hear Christ be magnified. We're the echoing his eminence, and his name would burst from sea and sky, from stand strong and worship you. And if it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice 'cause you're there too. I won't be formed by feelings, I hold fast to what is true. And if the cross brings transformation, then I'll be crucified with you. 'Cause death is just a doorway into resurrection life. And if I join you in your suffering, I'll join you when you rise. And when you return in glory with all the angels and the saints, my heart will still be singing, my soul will be the same. Oh,
great are you, Lord, at the top of my lungs. I just kind of felt like when Moses went up on the hill and he just couldn't look at God because he was so glorious and so great. So when I was singing that, I kind of felt that our God is so great, and it's almost like we can't understand how good he is. And then in this moment, as I'm worshiping, I'm feeling that God, you are so great. I can barely look at you. That's how great you are. God, I pray that everyone watching from their homes would sense what we are feeling right now. That you are great. You're so big, beyond our understanding. And you are so good. And you are in control. God, and you do bring hope. And you do bring life to everyone who comes searching for it. So God, may we come searching for you, for everything that you have for us, because you are great.
I want to start with a question today, and the question is, what do you do when you feel alone? I think this is probably one of the things that we are battling more than ever, this word, alone, right? We see it everywhere. We see it in the physical sense. We see it as we drive and the buildings that are just abandoned. We see it as we go for walks, and it's like in the nuance, the wide swath that people take around you, right? Where you feel like you're a disease walking, and we feel it. We feel isolated. I think we also feel it in our perspectives. We feel misunderstood. It's just about impossible to post what you actually think, isn't it? Like, how many things do you want to share? And you're like, ugh, is it worth it? If I have 1,000 opinions of what I say or what I do. And so I think we feel alone. I think we feel it more than we've felt it in a long time. We feel alone in our thoughts. Maybe you feel alone in your struggles. You feel like nobody really knows what you're going through. Like you thought that they cared, but you're not sure anymore. And maybe you even feel alone in your identity, just trying to figure out, who am I right now? These are the things that we're facing. And so the effects are staggering. They're real, and they are affecting us. This word alone, this loneliness that we maybe are experiencing, it is affecting us. I came across a few articles this week. I'll just share with you because it just proves this point. Medical News Today article, or today posted an article of 1,000 individuals who were polled aged 18 to 35. And they were trying to gauge people's mental health, especially young people in this season. And so what they found was, of those that were polled, they wanted to find out how they're doing with anxiety and depression and drug use and alcohol and consuming of alcohol. And so here's what they sort of found out through this article. Young people, 78% battling depression. 76% increased anxiety, 58% increased drinking and drug use. And of those, 30% reported harmful levels of drinking and drug use, 19% binge drinking. So we're seeing the effects in the mind, specifically mental health, people feeling alone. Another article from Canada's Assaulted Women's Helpline. Again, this is something we talk about a lot, but we need to. From people who call in, specifically women that are battling domestic abuse. They posted from 2019, a 6-month period, to 2020, the same 6-month period, they saw an increase from 24,000 calls to over 51,000. that 1 in 10 women are afraid of domestic abuse in this season. And so we're living in a time where people are experiencing the effects. And there's, again, countless articles about how isolation leads to physical harm, Alzheimer's, and even death. Okay, so like it's depressing. Okay, so I'm not going to camp out any longer on that because it's just depressing the more that you read about it. So today we're going to look through the story of Joseph. And just to set it up a little bit, we've been over the past few weeks talking about what do you do when you don't know what to do through the lens of these characters. 2 weeks ago was Daniel. Last week was Esther, and I know several of you did contact me concerned about Esther's well-being, if she is, using illicit drugs, and I can assure you she is just the heroin princess, okay? So I know all 80 of you were very concerned for us, so thank you for writing me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Joseph. And this is an incredible story. I want to encourage you to read it. It's found in Genesis 37 to 50. And what's great about this story is this outlandish, outsized story of a person named Joseph. And it's actually a bit of a setup. So if you don't know this about Joseph's story, is there's a parallel. There's actually dozens of parallels of Joseph to the coming Messiah, Jesus. So when you read the story, it's actually a big setup. And that's important because for us, especially in the West, who see with our natural eyes first often, because that's how we've been disposed in our upbringing, is that we often don't realize that God is working. We want him to work fast now. I want him to answer my prayers. And God is not actually always working like that. He's working it out, and it's not always in the time that we want. And so it's with that, we're going to look at Joseph. Joseph, here's what you need to know about him, is that Joseph is loved by his father, hated by his brothers. His father extends this special blessing to him, makes him a coat of many colors. He treats him like he's valuable, unlike his other brothers, which is a lesson in parenting. And so they decide they're going to kill him. And they decide, we're going to kill Joseph. We don't like him. We want to get rid of him. And they think, well, then we got to cover up the crime. And so they end up selling him into slavery. And Joseph finds himself in a foreign land alone. Okay, so this is what we're going to connect with today. Joseph is in a place he doesn't want to be, and he's all alone. Here's where we pick up the story in Egypt. Genesis chapter 39, verse 1, it says this. It says, when Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was the captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Here's where I want you to track with me. Look at this. It says that the Lord was with Joseph. That's going to be really important for us today, to just camp on that simple phrase, the Lord was with Joseph. So he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Jump ahead to verse 8. It says, now Joseph was well built, he was handsome, he was fine, okay? And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph. And so one day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants were there, which is a good lesson as well. And so she caught him by the cloak and said, come to bed with me. But he left his cloak in her hands and he ran out of the house stark naked, okay? Cue all the laughter from the 6-year-olds in the room, okay? And so this is, again, a great lesson. And for us, often when we're isolated, we want to settle for the temporary. Joseph recognizes actually it's destructive. And so she says, look, this Hebrew has been brought, has this Hebrew been brought to us to make sport of us? He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. And when he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and he ran out of the house. When the master heard this story, his wife told him, saying, this is how your slave treated me? He burned with anger. And so Joseph's master took him, he put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in the prison, look at what it says. It says that the Lord was with him. And so this is what's fascinating is when I read the scriptures, I often am looking for, what is God trying to reveal to us? What is he trying to show us through these writers? Inspired by God, what's he writing? And what's he trying to say to us? And whenever things are repeated, it's important to pay attention, to take notice because it's important. And it says that the Lord was with Joseph. So as I read that, I had two questions. Number one, why was he with Joseph? And number two, what does that even mean? He was with him. What does that mean that God was with Joseph? And so I want to just take a bit of a rabbit trail, and we're going to come full circle here in a moment. But let me help you understand this a little bit. Loneliness is an interesting topic because as you begin to dive into it, I began to learn some things about it. So psychology, the definition of loneliness is this. I want you to read it with me. It's a distressing experience that occurs when a person's social relationships are perceived, okay? Perceived by that person to be less in quantity and especially less in quality than desired, okay? So essentially, it's the idea that, it's this perception that we have less friends, less relationships that we want, and especially the quality. But that is a perception. So follow my logic here for a second. Perception is a problem in the mind. Right now, we are battling a battle in the mind. It's not a battle in the heart. Us preachers, we love talking about the heart, but it's actually a battle in your mind. Now, here's what's really fascinating, and this is what got me pretty pumped up, is in the classic Jewish thought, they would often teach about something called the Shekinah, okay, which is just a gnarly word, such a cool word. The Shekinah, sometimes referred to the Shekinah glory. And here's what the Shekinah is. The Shekinah refers to a dwelling or settling in a special sense of the divine presence of God. It's just the presence of God is all it is. To the effect that while in proximity to the Shekinah, the connection to God is more readily what? Perceivable. So this is actually a mind thing. So it got me thinking about this, is that yes, throughout history, yes, throughout the Bible, God shows up in powerful ways. He reveals himself through his poured out presence. We see it in multiple times throughout the Bible. But it isn't the normative. And here's what I mean by that, is that God does that for special occasions and it's awesome. But what does that mean for us every day? Here's what it means. It means that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God, he was, he is to come. He is to come. He's not changing. He's always present. He's closer than a brother. He's faithful to 1,000 generations. God is constant. So here, you need to know that about him. Here's what's important. Here's the point. God doesn't change, but our perception of him can. And that's why the scriptures talk about this a lot. Again, I love to talk about the heart because I think it's so important, but the Bible speaks a ton to the mind that you need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, your perception. And this is where I was convicted lately because here's the truth in my life, if I'm honest with you, okay? Honest moment is lately, I haven't been aware that God is present. I haven't been practicing that awareness. I haven't challenged that perception. And that's, I think, the point. And I think that's actually the first thing I want to talk about with you is that when it comes to loneliness, when it comes to being isolated, we need to challenge our perception because here's the truth, okay? Not what I feel. Here's the truth that I perceive, that God is with you. God is with you. And are you aware of it? Are you aware that you're not alone? That's so key for us today. Look what it says in Psalm 23. It says, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. I lack nothing. Even when I'm in the pit, even when I'm alone, even when I'm thrown into the dungeon, Pharaoh's prisoners, I am not alone. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down on green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. Why? For you are with me. And this is just, this is so important for us to hear this today. Challenge your mind because this is the truth that God is with us. That when you're in the pit, when circumstances don't go your way, when COVID has you all isolated and all frustrated and your dreams are going away and you feel like things are knocking the wind out of your sails, it means that you're in a good place because you can become aware and you can choose to recognize God is with you. And so I think for us, it's this reminder, if you're in a low spot today, if you feel alone, if you feel isolated, to just press pause. Like I know all of us are in different places right now. There's distractions and there's things vying for our attention and there's so much noise in our lives. But to simply press pause, like a kid with a 40-second anti-shock Discman, okay? I'm dating myself a little bit. Tape deck, 8-track, whatever you got, press pause on it. And just to be aware, in this moment, God is with you. Like, Like seriously, like in this moment, even right now, between you and I, God is with you. Like he's right here. He's right here. So take off the blinders, open your eyes, challenge your thoughts to recognize God is with you. I want to challenge you to do that. Second thought I have from this story is this, is that we have to fight for something more. We have to fight for our purpose. So the second thing, as I was reading this, I got asking this question is, why is God with us? You know, why is his presence with us? Why is he here with us? And so I was thinking about Joseph and to kind of go back to the story, Joseph, you know, you fast forward, he was sold into slavery at 17, and now he's about 40. He's the ruler, second in command of Pharaoh, and it's a dark season for all the surrounding nations. They're in a famine. But God has put Joseph in this position, and I want you to look at what happens in Genesis chapter 50, verse 18. It says, his brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. He says, we're your slaves, they said. But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? And I want you to get this. It says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So the question is, do you understand why God is with you? And I think there's two answers to that. You know, the first one is, yes, so that God can make you full and complete and not lacking anything and all of that. I think that's key. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's bigger than that. For Joseph, it was recognizing that he had a purpose, and that was to be a blessing. And we learned about that a couple weeks ago, that you are blessed and you are where you are right now so that you can be a blessing to others. That is worth fighting for. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. And when we don't understand this, when we get it wrong, here's what happens is we become bloated Christians, okay? So we think God just wants to bless me and he wants to fill me and make me full. But here's what happens if we don't understand our purpose, we don't understand why God is with us, is we begin to do things like I heard a great analogy the other day of we take the Bible and we curl it up into binoculars and we look through it and we point out all the things that are terrible in the world, all the things that are wrong with, you know, everybody else, especially other Christians and every post. And we begin to look at everybody else's problems instead of what the Bible was intended for, which is it's a mirror to hold up, to go, what is it in me that I need to challenge? What is it in me that I need to reclaim this purpose that God, that I can be a blessing wherever I go? And it's not easy. It's not easy, man. Like it'd be so much easier just to write people off, wouldn't it? Like, to say that thing that you've rehearsed in your mind that you wish you could really say to that neighbor or that family member, that we all have that one. The challenge is, of course, is maybe, are you the one and you don't know it? Or that boss or that person you don't respect. The promise wasn't that it was going to be easy. It was that God would be with you. And so I love this about the Bible. As I was thinking about the story and as we close today, I was thinking about the story of God throughout scriptures. It's account after account of God with us. Noah, God says, I want you to build the ark, but he says, be sure of this, I am with you. He goes on to Abraham. He says, go to the land to which I'm going to show you and be sure of this, I am with you. And you go to Moses and he says, I want you to go tell Pharaoh to let my people go and be sure of this, I'm with you. And then he goes to Gideon and Gideon says, I'm the youngest in my family. I have nothing to offer. And God says, yeah, but I'm with you. And then you go to Isaiah and Jeremiah and they're supposed to prophesy in this like dark season, a difficult time. And God says, yeah, but I'm with you. And then Jesus comes and he says, I want you to go. I want you to walk in your purpose, to make disciples and to tell people about the goodness of God and be sure of this, that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. And so today, man, like if you could hear anything, just challenge your thoughts. I am with you. God is with you. And so today I want to ask you these two things is number one, are you aware? Are you aware that you're not alone? I want to challenge you to challenge those thoughts. Put them aside. Challenge your mind. Transform yourself by the renewing of your mind to remind yourself that God is with you. Fight for it. Get in the scripture in the morning. Spend some time praying prayers of gratitude. Go for a walk and reflect on God's goodness in your life. Fight for it. And then the second is fight for your purpose. In Joseph's story, in closing, it's so powerful because God even uses his adversaries for good. God uses his circumstances and his adversities to show that he had something better for him. God gave him favor. And I want to challenge you to be someone who is a blessing everywhere you go. Recognize your purpose in this season, that God is with you. Why is he with you? It's, he wants to fill you up, but it's bigger. It's so that you can be a blessing. And so today I bless you with the truth that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And in this place, God is with you. You're not alone, but I need you to challenge your perspective. Challenge your perspective and allow yourself to fight again for your purpose. Fight for your purpose, that God has put you where you are to be a blessing. And so I bless you with that in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
My name is Trudy Schroeder, and I currently serve on the board at Central Community Church. I have been attending Central since December 1988, just as the church was finishing the expansion of the 2 wings and larger platform in our current auditorium. The church was filled with excitement and fatigue at the same time, but we knew it would be worth it. Over the next 30 years, I was baptized in this church, married, raised our children, and have seen them married in this very building. So because of that, I think in some ways it's bittersweet. In one breath, I'm sad to say goodbye because of all that God has done in our lives here at 240 Scott Street. But recently, I stepped foot in our new auditorium on York Road, and I felt that God ignited an overwhelming sense of excitement in me again. The truth is, Central has had almost 100 years of helping not only our church families, but also our community at large. And I began to sense the greater impact we will continue to have for the next generation. I'm so excited to step into our new building and begin this journey together. Greater things are coming. God continues to show me that it's not about the location, but about the people coming into our new space. And I can't wait for them to experience God's love and ours. Now we are months away from opening our doors for the very first time on York Road and making this dream of reaching the Niagara region a reality. As we finalize the last few details, we have about a $1.6 million gap that we need to make this happen. I'm happy to report that through the recent generosity of some of our donors, we have already raised $770,000. And we want to give you the opportunity to help us finish strong and make this building everything we have prayed for over the past 10 years. To learn more about our plans, you can head over to our YouTube channel and search Future Forward to watch a video that explains about our new building. But today, we want you to text the word future to 905-937-5610. You will receive an electronic pledge card. From there, we have 3 ways you can participate. First, would you consider giving a one-time gift towards our Future Forward campaign? No matter how big or small, we can reach this goal if we all work together. Second, maybe you would like to find out more about giving through a promissory note. This option is available to those who would like to help in that way. Finally, if you would like more information before committing to a donation, we would like to offer you a tour of our new building to share more about our vision. All 3 of these options are available on this pledge card. Whatever option works best for you helps us get one step closer to our goal and opening our doors to the community. So today, would you consider partnering with us? We are truly better together.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I just love the story of Joseph. And it's such a good reminder during this time to remember that we are not alone. And just as we heard, the Lord was with Joseph, and he is also with you. I want to encourage you to take some time to reflect on the discussion questions, either now or later in the week, and listen to what God is speaking to you. And also, may I just encourage you to fight, to not be alone. We want to help you take that next step to connect with God and to connect with others. Don't be alone. God is with you, and we need to be here for each other. So there's a couple things that you can do even right now. One is just take some time to think about and reflect on the message you just heard. Also, you can just jump into virtual coffee connections right now if you're watching during our 9 a.m. and 10:30 broadcast. We'd love for you to just join us in the Zoom connection and just spend 45 minutes talking about where you're at and how you're feeling during this time so that you don't feel alone. Spend some time praying and growing together with others. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we have all kinds of groups for all ages and demographics and interests available for you. Just simply head over to our groups page for more information on how you can get connected so we are not alone. If you have any questions on how to get connected, simply head over to centralcc.ca/connect or text the word central to 905-937-5610 and you will find everything there you need to know on how to get connected. Well, that's all for me. I hope you have an amazing week and we'll see you back here next week.